got this section, and then you've got the windscreen. I always remember that part, and I didn't realise how significant that part was. So from seeing the silver tip, then all of a sudden, can we have the next slide, please? No. Okay, right. All of a sudden, what I'm seeing in front of me is this 35-foot, 40-foot craft. And the only way that I can describe it is like a Billy Mere craft. It's solid silver, and it's like I could feel it. If I could feel it, if I could touch it, it would really hurt my fingers to touch. And it had a red-orange, like a colour of the fire, underneath, power, you know, like power source. And I just remember looking at this. Now, I've got a witness still in the car, Jane, that I'd taken for the job interview. And I remember looking underneath this thing, because this thing is just in front of me. And I'm thinking, well, where's the fuselage? You know, where's the wings on this thing? And my mind is just spinning so fast, and it can't understand what's happening. All I'm worried about is where the wings are and the fuselage from this.
I think these, of course, are not photos, are they, of the actual thing? These are similar photos, just for comparative value.
I wish they were. But, yeah, this is basically, I'm showing, obviously this is the Mexico picture, is because if someone was in the Holiday Inn at the time, this is the type of thing that they would have witnessed as well. Now, it wasn't until I swore really loudly and said a really rude word when I'm looking at this thing, because this thing is above me, and I won't say it, but it was really rude, and that grabbed her attention. So we're both looking underneath this thing. Now, the traffic lights are still on red, so I now know, and I know that this thing had stopped the traffic lights. So we're looking underneath this thing, and I'm thinking, sod my friend that, you know, I've got to go and see, you know, this thing is far, far more important. But I know that I can't make a right turn, and I know that I can't go in the way that it's going. And it's sort of moving fast, but yet slow in a strange way. And it's really, really low. And it's heading over towards the right, towards UCLA College. Now, you've got to remember, it's still broad daylight. And so we're looking underneath this thing. And as it's going past, traffic lights come back on again. And I'm thinking, you know, I can't go that way, make a right turn. So I know that I have to go over the bridge. So I'm travelling over the bridge. And I know that there's a cul-de-sac up there that I have to go up to. Now, I don't know the area at all, but I know that I've got to go up to that location to see it, because I know, like I said, because I can't go right. And I remember as I'm turning the car round to go over the bridge, looking behind and looking behind at this craft. And like I say, you know, I swear, no, I won't swear at it, but looking at the back side of it, going, ploughing through the, you know, the tops of the trees, and still at that angle, I can't see any wings, you know, and it's just going through the tops of the trees. So we're both looking around and looking at it. So pretty fast, put my foot down on the gas, go up to the cul-de-sac. Now, me and my friend Jane are not speaking at all. Drive up to the cul-de-sac, and I pull the car round, and I say to her, right, we're both going to get out at the same time and point in the same direction where we thought it went. So as we've been here and we've come around and come up to the cul-de-sac, we both get out of the car and point. As soon as she points and I point, well, I mean, I don't know what she's going through, but when I saw her point in the same direction as me, that was it. I mean, my eyes welled up, and, you know, I really felt like I lost the plot. I couldn't, my brain was just like overloaded. But the craft wasn't there. The craft had gone. Can we have the next slide? Yeah. So this is the type of craft. I didn't see the top of it, but where is it? It's this, all underneath here. I mean, the quality of the picture doesn't come out. All of that underneath there was bright red-orange. Can we have the next one, please? Right. That's how close I was to it. I'm in the car, and I'm looking directly up above this thing. It wasn't like that either, but, you know, I'm looking up at this thing. Can we have the next slide, please? Right. So at that point, when I'm at the cul-de-sac, we both look over towards UCLA College, and it's gone. And I know that there's nothing that I can do. So I drive back down the road, and I go to my friend's house that I owe the money to. I pull out, I pull into my friend's driveway, and I get out of the car, and I remember not wanting to look around. I didn't want to see anything. I really just don't want to look at anything. And I remember looking at the floor, and I didn't even want to focus on the floor. I didn't want to, but if I saw a stone, I didn't want to think about it. And I remember ringing her doorbell, and her being a typical American, you know, she said, "Do you want to come in for an English tea?" And I said, in a bad English accent, and I said, "No." I said, "Something so strange has just happened to me. I need to get home." So I remember walking back to the car, really shaky, obviously, and getting back into the car. Jane is still not speaking to me whatsoever. She's got her head down, and you know, we're just both not thinking about anything. Well, this is okay. This was actually shot about a month later in the valley, and it's the same type of craft. And it was sent. I think it was in 14 Times years ago. It was sent in by someone anonymous, but you know, I just wanted to show that, you know, a lot of these type of craft were seen in that area around the same time as me. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, and that's the type of craft that I saw. That was shot in Malibu, I do believe, and it's, you know, just of a silver structure with the red orange underneath. Can I have the next one, please? Okay, so I'm in the car with Jane, and I'm ready to go back onto the road to get back on the freeway to go home. And I go to pull out my car, and there in front of me is a car. I mean, I've searched for years, but this is the closest picture that I could ever find of the type of car that was in front of me, blocking me and not letting me out. And here you can't see, but it's so thin, the windows. And I have to say they were tinted, and I couldn't see into the car. Now, I have a history of cars. I love my cars. I love my classic cars, whether that led me to understand what that car was. But, you know, I've always been the tomboy and will help my dad fix anything, mostly on cars. So when I saw this car, it really freaked me out. I mean, it was black, it was chrome, it shouldn't have been there. It was just, I couldn't understand why I'd just seen what I had and then had this put in front of me as well. And you know, my eyes are watering, I'm crying at this point, because I can't see in, and I'm really frightened. The car moves off, and I'm back on the little road going back past the Holiday Inn to get back on the freeway. And because I've still got my window wound down, Jane's still not speaking to me. As we're heading towards the valley, I hear this roaring noise, and I'm just thinking, you know, I don't want any more. I really can't take any more. And I look up at from my window, and I see 4, 5 unmarked military helicopters going so fast towards UCLA College, where the craft had gone. Now, obviously, I didn't put everything into perspective, like the UFO and this, and then the helicopters, but I knew, and I sort of chuckled to myself, they won't get that. You know, that's long gone. But driving home, you know, Jane's still not speaking to me. I remember putting my food down that I'd got for the day, and I had friends around the house waiting for me. And I just didn't want to speak to them. You know, I remember seeing the reflection of Jane walk into my bathroom, and I looked at her in the mirror, and she just looked at me at the reflection from the mirror, and it was just like, you know, I just had enough. You know, the guy that I was with at the time, I'd had a lot of paranormal experiences with, and I went to say to him, you know, you guys, you wouldn't believe what's just happened to me, and I couldn't say it.